Okay, so good morning. All right, so I am Jasmine, if there's anybody that I haven't met yet. And so we're going to start off like we do every day with our mindful body. Looks like most of you are already in it. So we're going to be getting ourselves in a good, comfortable seating position. And we're not going to have too many distractions around us. And then we're going to give ourselves, let's stretch our arms way out to the side. Way out to the side, Kaden, out to the side. And then you're gonna give yourself, wrap your arms and give yourself a big, big hug. Like you are your own best friend. Hug, 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 hug. And then you're gonna stretch your arms back out again. And you're gonna switch which arm was on top and give yourself a big, 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 big hug the other way. Oh, my own best friend. Yeah. Okay, and let's start off to get us centered and grounded. We're going to take 3 big breaths together. Does anybody remember? Does anybody want to say what we do a little bit differently with these breaths? Usually we're all breathing all the time, right? But how do we breathe in this way? Does anybody want to say?
A mindful way.
A mindful way. That's wonderful. Absolutely. So we're going to be conscious of doing it. And so we're going to breathe in through our nose, consciously, mindfully in through our nose. We're going to hold at the top, and then we're going to breathe it out. So let's breathe in. And then breathe it out. And let's do another one in. And out. And then our biggest one yet, we're gonna breathe in really big. We get a little bit more. And breathe it out. So we talked some this week about the 5 senses. Does anybody remember what the 5 senses are? Jet, you wanna say? Or
he said his hand raised.
Oh, okay, you got it. Go ahead, Jack.
Wait, I didn't raise my hand.
Oh, you did? Okay. Jet, do you want to answer what the 5 senses are?
Okay, smell, taste, what's called?
Just Jet talking, okay? We'll all get a chance to talk if we want. Go ahead, Bob.
Being mindful.
Being mindful. Does anybody, so which ones did you say? So there's 5, right?
I forgot what.
And we can taste, and we can smell, and we can hear, and we can touch, right? Those are our 5 senses that we use all the time, every single day. So we're going to do a little bit of yoga to use our senses. So first we're going to stand up. Stand up. And so first we're going to reach all the way up to the sky. All the way up to the sky. Stretch yourselves up, stretch yourselves up, stretch. And then we're gonna come like a tree. So we're gonna have our branches like this, and your feet, if you want to, see the way I do it. If you're having a little trouble balancing, you can put your feet just at the bottom like that. If you're a really good balancer, you can put them up a little higher or up even super high. So you can choose where you want your foot to be, whatever is most comfortable. And so then at the top, we're going to be this tree. And because now we're a tall tree, we're in like a red zone. So we can see so far in the distance. So right now we're going to be using our sight. So you can just turn your body a little bit and use your sight as this tall tree. And just look at all the things around you. Everything that you see. And then we're going to become one of my favorite animals. We're going to become an elephant. And what do elephants have a big, huge thing? Besides their trunks, what else is huge? They have really huge ears, right? Really huge ears. So we're going to bend all the way over.
And they're extremely.
And our arms are like our ears. So these are our ears. So we're going to just kind of be brushing them like this. And then because they're so big, we're gonna reach it over. So it's like the ear opening up, and then we're gonna listen to everything we hear. Everything we hear. And then we're gonna switch sides so that we can hear out of our other ear. Then all the way over. And listen to everything you can hear right now. And then we're gonna come down on the floor. And we're gonna do, some of you might have done this before, so it's called cat-cow. And does anybody, you can just raise your hand, does anybody have a cat? Anybody have a cat? Yeah, Jet has a cat? A couple of you have?
No, I have a dog.
You do? Okay. So this is, dogs kind of do this too, but we're gonna be a cat for it. So we're gonna put our bodies like a table. So it's like a table like this. And we're gonna squinch up. And then breathe out. And then we're gonna lean down, and the way kitty cats do that, you're gonna just touch whatever's in front of you. Stretch your body out and touch whatever's in front of you. For a sense of touch. And then we're gonna come back to seating. And this one's a little funny. So we're gonna be frogs. So you're sitting like this. You're sitting on the back of your heels. And we're gonna be frogs. And so frogs, I don't know if anybody's ever seen it in real life or even seen it in a video or a movie, but frogs have these tongues that go and go out and can catch bugs and different stuff, right? So we're literally gonna, this is a little bit to stretch out our face. We're gonna literally be like, stick out your tongue. And you can think of something that you want to that would taste delicious on your tongue. We're not frogs, so we're probably not trying to catch bugs, right? So you could think of the most delicious thing that you want to. We're gonna do it 3 times. So you're gonna stretch out your face a little bit and go, stick your tongue out, exactly. And one more time, get whatever you want, the most delicious thing on your tongue. Okay, and we're gonna go into the last one, which is our warrior pose. We're gonna get back up. And we're gonna stand with our arms out to the sides, and your feet, you're gonna have one foot facing one direction, and the other foot face the other. And we're going to touch the sky. So we're going to touch the sky, bend over, sweeping the sky. One more time on that side, sweep the whole sky. And then we're going to turn in the other direction. And we're going to sweep the sky that way. And back, and one more time, sweep the whole sky again. Okay, great. And now we can come back down to sit like the frog. So I think that most of you have met them, but maybe not everybody has met them yet. So does anybody remember who these two are? These two cute, cute, cute little somebodies? Kaden, do you want to tell us who they are? No? Okay, no problem. Does anybody want to tell us who they are? Okay, Theo, who are they?
So the dog on the left is Bully the bulldog. He lives in back of your brain. And the owl is Swoops the owl. He lives in the front of the egg. And how to wake Bully up is you like scratch him or something. And then how to wake Swoops up is you just literally tap your brain.
Absolutely. Theo, I love it. That was a wonderful, wonderful explanation. So yeah, Bully lives, they're both part of our brains and they're both useful. They both do some different things for us. So Bully lives in the back and Bully helps keep us safe. And Bully lets us know if it's like about to rain, maybe there's a thunderstorm. Hey, go inside, right? But then our wise owl is also there to make sure that we make good decisions, make sure that we calm down and we make good decisions. And so, did you say his name, Theo? The name Swoop? Exactly. And so I'm going to read us a story. Bully is unfortunately, sorry, Bully, you're not in this story, but Swoop is in the story that we're going to read, okay? There's another dog in the story, but it's not Bully. This is a calm dog. And so you can all get comfortable. If you want to, you can lay down. It's a bit of a story, so you can lay down, but if you want to sit up, you can do that. But we're going to be focused, and we're going to keep our mindful bodies, and we're going to keep, I see your face, Theo. It's okay to have a mindful body for a little while. It keeps us nice and calm. Okay, so we're going to keep our mindful bodies and listen to the story and think about how it relates to you. So, you know how most people say, I have a dog, or this is my dog? This is the story about some people, but it's also a lot about a dog. A very, very special dog named Tico. His name stands for Today I Choose Happiness Opportunities. I choose ways to be happy and spread joy. Tico is an old soul who knows the ancient secrets to joy, and his mission on earth is to teach this to as many people as possible, and also to have as many adventures as possible, and to have as much fun as possible.
No.
So in the way that people say they have a dog, Tico said he had two people, and their names were Connie and Bo. They live next door to each other in a little town called Mariposa, nestled between the forest and the canyons, high in the California mountains. Every day that they didn't have school, Connie and Bo would meet by the blueberry bush where their backyards met. Tico slept every night wherever he pleased, but at 10 in the morning, like clockwork, they would all meet by the biggest bush, which grew the juiciest of all berries. On those mornings, all their hearts beat a little bit faster with excitement. And this was because they knew that when they met Tico, they would always be whisked off on a new adventure. So that day, which happened to be the first day of summer, the sun was already shining down hard on them as they met, and Connie and Bo stuffed their mouths full of plump, juicy berries. You can imagine them yourself, eating delicious berries. After a few moments, Tico gave them the look, and he turned and trotted off towards the North Forest. Connie and Bo threw on their backpacks and skipped to catch up with him. They'd follow him anywhere. They crossed streams and small brooks, climbed under fallen trees so big it seemed like they'd entered a giant's forest. They followed crooked paths and ran through meadows of bushes in bloom. And along the way, Tico would point things out. One-of-a-kind wildflowers here, a giant hawk's nest tucked in the nook of a tree there. He reminded them to pay attention to their surroundings, to be mindful. The world is full of wonder, and they should notice the little things. Late in the day, that magical time, just before the golden sun begins to think of setting, Connie and Bo were caught up listening to a woodpecker up, 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 hammering away on a very tall tree. They found it so funny. They came around a bend in the path, but no longer saw those familiar ears bobbing in front of them. "Where's Tico?" Connie asked, and they both looked around, but Tico was nowhere to be seen. They started calling for him, calmly at first, but then more frantically when he didn't appear. After a few minutes, which felt like hours of looking and calling his name, they came together in a small tree under the evergreens. Both looking up, they could clearly see that the sunlight was changing through the trees, and soon darkness would come. They looked at each other, fear starting to rise in their eyes. What are we going to do now? They both blurted out at the same time. Then both of their minds started racing with worried thoughts. How would they find their way home? How soon would it get pitch dark? What would their families think when they didn't come home? Did any big animals come out at night? Which one of them would they, etc., etc.? They both started to let these thoughts of fear grow until they could hear them pounding in the stillness of the forest outside their frightened minds. And then, wait, Connie cried. The first thing we have to do is what Tico always tells us to do if we get scared or upset. But that's for if we don't want to be angry about something or nervous about something, Bo replied. No, said Connie, it's for everything. We just never had to do it for something this big before. They looked at each other, both a bit skeptical. But then they looked around and it was definitely getting darker. A little bit of fear began to again fly through their heads. Okay, they both cried, and they turned together in the direction they'd come from. They both struck their own superhero pose, and they called out to the far corners of the rambling forest. Swoop! Swoop! And of course, Swoop appeared, like he always did. He looked at them wisely, like he always did. What do we do? They asked him. Swoop smiled. You know what to do, he said. So they turned to each other, and at once, together, they said, I am brave. I am strong. I am smart. I am mindful. I can handle anything that happens. And my calm is a superpower. And then they fell silent. All you could hear were their deep breaths being carried by the early evening winds. They stayed like this for several moments, just breathing and clearing their minds of any worries. Then they both turned and cried, this way, at the same time, and ran off in that direction. The quiet had reminded them of all that they already knew. We are smart, they yelled as they looked at the setting sun to see which way was west. A bit further, a huge rock had washed into their path through the stream, blocking their way. We are strong, they yelled to the forest creatures as together they pushed the rock out of their trail. We are mindful, they cheered as they made a sharp left by the hawk's nest they both clearly remembered Tico pointing out. We are brave, they shouted wildly as the light shifted to darken shadows between the trees. And then finally, see, we can handle anything as they realized that they could see their homes in the distance. And there sat Tico, smiling, eating a veggie burger, his favorite meal. Oh, Tico, they cried, you left us. How could you? No, I didn't, he laughed. I was behind you the whole time. So was Swoop. I knew you could do it, but I wanted to make sure that you knew that you could do it too. Connie and Bo looked at each other. They wanted to be mad. They had actually been scared for a minute, but they realized how good it felt to crush those fears and to prove them wrong and to call for Swoop. And all together, as they ran towards the lights of home, their voices echoed through the canyons. I am grateful to be smart. I am grateful to be strong. I am grateful to be brave. I am grateful to be mindful. I am so grateful to be me. And so, did you all know that you're superheroes? Raise your hand if you know you're a superhero. Did you know you're superheroes? I like it. I see some hands raised. So you are little. Raise your hand if you think you're brave. Raise your hand if you know you're smart. Raise your hand if you know that you're kind. And raise your hand if you know how to be mindful. So all of those things, I know lots of us think of superheroes as like people who can fly in the sky, maybe somebody who wears a cape, but you are all your own superheroes, literally, and calm is a superpower. So in the story, they're worried, right? They're worried, but then they call for Swoop, and Swoop reminds them that they can calm down, they can calm themselves, and that they're going to know what to do. So calm is also a really big superpower. Does anybody want to say anything about the story? Theo, do you want to say something?
I don't have a hand up.
Okay, Scarlett, do you want to say something? We can't hear you, Bubba. Can you unmute yourself? We can't hear you.
I'm on mute, I think.
Go ahead, Scarlett.
I have a puppy and the story has a puppy.
You have a puppy who's what? I'm sorry?
I have a puppy and his name is Peekaboo and the story
I like that name. That's a wonderful name. I met a dog once named Pikachu. I like that too. Okay, so we are all together going to go over, we're going to say these things because it's really important, the things that we say to ourselves, okay? So we're going to unmute you and you can all say it with me at the same time. So we're going to start off. I'm going to say, Theo, can you please just say what we're going to say together, okay? We got a couple more minutes of being mindful together. So we're going to say, first of all, I am smart.
I am smart.
I am brave.
I am brave.
I am kind. I am kind.
I am kind.
I create my own joy. I create my own joy.
I create my own joy.
I can call Swoop anytime I choose.
I call Swoop anytime I want to.
I am my own superhero.
I'm my own superhero.
So do you all think that you can remember to call Swoop when you need him? Yeah, right? And calm ourselves down. And even sometimes, is anybody teaching their parents or anybody else in their family about Bully and Swoop? Has anybody else talked to anybody else?
We do.
Yeah?
I'm reading it if you want to listen.
Sienna, do you want to say something? No? Okay, no problem. So yeah, you can even remind your parents. Sometimes if maybe mom or dad is starting to worry about something or starting to talk about something and you can tell that they need it too, you could be like, hey, mom, dad, remember, you can also call Swoop. And it's a way for all of us to calm ourselves down, right? So let's do a teeny bit of tapping before we leave each other. We're going to start down. You see my arm? You're going to start at the beginning of your wrist, and you're going to take this hand, your other hand, and you're just going to tap lightly up your arm. Tap up and down your arm. And then we're going to switch sides, and we're going to do it with our other hand on the other side. So just tap, 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 all the way up. And tap back down. And we'll go up one more time. Tap, 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 tap. And back down. And then one last time, feel, you said it in the beginning, and you were exactly right, that this little space, this magic space between our eyes also works to calm us down. So when you're calling swoop, you can just tap right here, however you want to, with a bunch of fingers like me, or with just 2 fingers, or 1 finger. So sometimes if you're feeling a little nervous, or maybe about to cry, or get mad, you can tap, 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 and call swoop, and calm yourself down. You all are doing a really good job of understanding a lot of these things are things that grown-ups even have to learn. And so you all are doing a really good job of understanding these things, understanding your feelings, and understanding that you can call for swoop. And so is everybody going to remember? Raise your hands if you're going to remember that you're a superhero. A superhero.